Alright guys, today we've got 4 exercises that ask us to find the equation of a line, and we're given the graph to go by. I want you to remember I've got this little sign over here. It's all about y equals mx plus b. So if I can figure out the y-intercept, which is b, and if I can figure out the slope, which is m, really I'm all done. That's the only two things I have to substitute into this equation, and I've got the equation of the line. All right, and I did put this up here. Notice I made a little correction here. I noticed it said x2 minus x2, so that should be an x1 there. All right, so if it's a mistake on your note packet, make sure you fix that. All right, so let's start with exercise 1. And remember, I'm trying to find the equation of the line. And first, let's see, can I pick off of this graph, the y-intercept? And the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. Well, here's my x-axis and here's my y-axis. And if I look at this point right here, that line crosses that axis, that y-axis, right at the point, I'm going to draw this in here, right at the point 0, comma 3. All right? So far, if I just put my y-intercept into this equation, I have this. All right? I took the b out because that's my y-intercept, and I put in the 3. Okay? So now I'm just left with one more thing. I just have to find my slope. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use this formula, right? You can use this formula, or we can just go find another point. Let's find another point. It looks like this point right here crosses the uh, grid at right where these two grid lines cross here. They cross each other, so that is a good point on the line. That is the point 1, comma 8. Is that 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 1 comma 6. That was a little low to be 8. Okay, so that's the point 1 comma 6. Now if I just count, right? If I just count from one point to the other, and I count my change in y over change in x, that's what slope is. Remember, it's how much we go up or down and over how much we go right to left. All right, if I just count, how much did I go up to go from this point to this point? Well, 1, 2, 3. So my change in y is a positive 3. Okay, and then I'm up here and I count how many places did I go left or right. Well, I went one place to the right, and that is in a positive direction, so that's positive 1. So my slope is a 3. All right, so now I can put that into my y equals mx plus b, 3x plus 3. There is the equation of my line, and that's really all they're asking us to do there. All right, so quickly again, I start with this equation up here, y equals mx plus b. All right, always start with that. I found my y-intercept, plugged it in for b, and then I figured out my slope by counting, really just counting how much I went up and how much I went over, and then I plug it in, and I'm all done. All right, so not too difficult. Let's try number 2 here. Let me turn off number 1, and let's try number 2. All right, and let's see if I can clear the deck out here. Let's go back to here and go like this. All right, that took that out of there. Okay, so let's go back and let's try number 2. Again, it's going to be all about y equals mx plus b. All right, so first of all, what is my y-intercept? Well, I'm going to circle it again right here is my y-intercept, and that is the point 0, negative 1. So what does that tell me? That means so far I have this equation. Notice I took this plus sign out, and I put in this minus sign because that is a negative number over there. All right? So only thing left is to find my slope. All right, and I'm going to find another point. Let's see, what other point could I use And I want to find one that goes right through where the grid lines come together there. So that point looks like a winner right there. That is the point 1, 2, 3 to the left. So that is a -3 and up 1. All right. So really, I really don't even need to write those coordinates down. I just simply have to count, and I need to get my slope. So my change in y over change in x. All right, let's start down at this one, and let's go up 2 to the left 3. So I went up 2. Now when I go to the left 3, that's a -3. All right, so I'm going to write that as -2/3. Okay, so now I take what I have here and I just plug in my slope of -2/3. And there it is. All done. All right, so everything is coming right from the graph here. Now, before I had the equation to figure out slope, and you could use that instead of counting, right? You could use that equation for slope to figure out your slope of -2/3. It'll work the same way. All right? Okay, let's try number 3. Let's turn all these off. There we go. All right, same idea. I'm going to switch over to blue here. Y equals mx plus b. And let's see what we have here. We're going to find the y-intercept. Right there is the y-intercept. That's where it crosses the x and y-axis there. That's where it crosses the y-axis. And that is what point? That is the point 0, -4. All right, so that tells me so far I have a -4 in for that b, correct? Okay, because that's my y-intercept. All right, so now let's find my slope. Slope is change in y over change in x. And I'm going to find another point that I can find. Let's find one over here. Let's go with this one right here. That is a good point to deal with right here. That point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 5. And down 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so there's the point. Not that I had to necessarily know those coordinates, but it's just nice to make sure I know what I'm doing here. So, again, let's count. Let's start at this point right here. And remember, it's change in y over change in x. So how much did I go up or down? Well, I start at this point and I go down 1. So that would be a -1. All right, -1 right there. Okay, so I go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over to the 5, and that's to the right, so that's a positive. Okay, well, a negative divided by a positive gives me a negative number, so there's my slope. All right, so now I just take my slope and I plug it into this formula that I already have. And there you go. There it is. There's your equation of that line. All right? So no really heavy-duty math to do for this. Let's turn this one off and let's try number 4 here. Again, what is the equation of the given graph below? So y equals mx plus b. All right, let's find our y-intercept. Oh, this one's a little different. This one goes right through the origin. That is the point 0, 0. Right there. So what if I plug in a 0 for the b? Well, I could write it like this. I could write it like that, but really is there any reason to add 0? Well, it doesn't really change anything. So actually what I have so far is this. All right? So after I figured out that the y-intercept was 0, I plugged it in, and I can just drop that 0 off because it really doesn't mean anything. All right, and it does mean something. It means the intercept is 0, but I don't need to keep it in the equation. All right, so let's find the slope. Let's go find another point that it crosses, and it looks like this line is going through this point right there. Okay, and that is the point 2, comma 2. All right, so let's do our change in y over change in x. Okay, well, how much did the y change? Let's count again. How much did we go up or down? We went up 2, and then we went to the right 2. So that would be just 2 over 2, which is a slope of 1. Okay, so I plug in a 1 for that m, and I have just 1x. So there is the equation of that line. It was, even though I didn't write a number there, that's understood that there is a 1 there. All right, so that's what I want you to be able to do for tomorrow, for the next day. I want you to be able to take a graph and find your y-intercept. That's not too difficult. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Plug that y-intercept in for b, and then find a couple points, right? A couple points that are on the line that allow you to calculate your slope, and plug that in for m, and you're done. So, all right, so thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see everyone tomorrow.